I work reception at a private clinic in Amsterdam. An American woman burst through our doors, clutching her ankle, face pale with terror. I need a doctor now. I have insurance. Blue Cross, Blue Shield. Platinum level. I told her our doctor would see her shortly. She wasn't listening. She threw her insurance card on my desk, then her credit card, then her passport. Whatever it costs. I can pay. Just help me. I explained our doctor was with another patient, but would be ready in 10 minutes. She looked at me like I'd suggested amputation. I track this kind of real-world healthcare behavior full-time so you don't have to. If you want every shocking example decoded like this, subscribing is the smart move. 10 minutes? This could be broken. In America, emergencies get seen immediately. I glanced at her ankle. She was standing on it, walking on it. It was slightly swollen. Miss, if you can walk, probably don't tell me what's broken on my body. She pulled out her phone and started filming. I'm documenting this negligence. You people have socialized medicine. You've forgotten how to treat patients. The doctor came out early just to stop the commotion. He examined her, ankle sprained, not broken. Gave her ice and painkillers. Total cost, 48 euros. She stared at the bill like it was written in hieroglyphics. This is all? For a doctor visit? When I nodded, she got suspicious. What's the catch? Do I get a bill later? Hidden fees? No catch. That was the price. She paid, still skeptical. Then left a 1-star Google review saying we clearly weren't real doctors because real medicine costs thousands. Sometimes tourists arrive here convinced affordable healthcare must be inferior healthcare. Here's what happens when Americans panic over foreign medical systems. Guy walked into our pharmacy in Stockholm with a crumpled prescription from his American doctor. Antibiotics for a sinus infection? Simple enough. I told him the cost. 85 kronor. About $8. He laughed. No, seriously. What's the real price? I showed him the register. He went silent. Then came the theories. Wait, are these generic? Knockoffs? Because I only take name brand. I explained these were the same antibiotics, just priced reasonably. He wasn't buying it. In America, this prescription costs $200. You're telling me Sweden makes them for $8? Not Sweden. Same manufacturers. Different pricing systems. He shook his head. Something's wrong. Medicine can't be this cheap. What am I missing? Nothing? That was the price. He made me verify the prescription 3 times, checked the pill bottle for typos, Googled the pharmacy to confirm we were legitimate, finally paid. Pocketed the bottle like he'd smuggled contraband, left muttering, this feels illegal. 2 days later, he came back. Wanted to buy 10 more bottles for home? I explained prescriptions don't work that way. He offered me 100 euros cash under the table. Come on, American insurance is a scam. Help me stock up. I declined. He filed a complaint with our manager, claiming I was gatekeeping affordable medication. The complaint went nowhere. Last I saw, he was outside photographing our storefront, probably for some Facebook post about big pharma suppression. I'm a hospital administrator in Berlin. An American couple came to our emergency room because their toddler had a fever. Normal procedure, checked vitals, gave fever reducers, monitored for an hour. Fever broke. Sent them home with instructions. The father kept asking about the bill. When do we pay? Do we pay now or later? I told him they'd receive an invoice if their travel insurance didn't cover it. He looked panicked. How much, though? Maybe 100 euros. He grabbed his wife's arm. Did you hear that? 100 euros? For the hour, that's like $110. His wife started crying, not from relief, from confusion, but Johnny had an IV and tests, and we saw 2 doctors. That's thousands in Florida. I explained our system wasn't like America's. The dad wasn't relieved. He was suspicious. What's the scam? Nobody gives 4 fluids for $100. What are you not telling us? No scam, just public health care. He demanded itemized receipts before they'd even been billed. Wanted to verify every charge. Asked if the 4 was certified. Asked if our doctors had real degrees from real medical schools. I showed him the doctor's credentials, trained at Corite, one of Europe's top hospitals. He Googled it on his phone, right there in my office. Okay, but why so cheap? Because that's how the system works. He shook his head. We're getting a second opinion when we're home. Something's off. They left, still convinced they'd missed some hidden charge. 2 weeks later, the invoice arrived at their hotel forwarding address. €94 total. The father called our billing department, asking if we'd made a mistake. I work at a walk-in clinic in Prague. An American tourist came in with a cut on his hand, deep enough to need stitches, but not serious. Standard procedure. Cleaned it, numbed it, stitched it. 15 minutes, done. He asked about payment before we even started. Do you take Visa? I have $3,000 available credit. 3,000? I told him the cost would be around 1,200 koruna. He blinked. 1,200. What's that in dollars? About 55. He laughed nervously. $55 for stitches? Are you using fishing line? Medical grade sutures. Same as anywhere. He kept glancing at the supplies like he expected rusty tools. And the numbing stuff? Is that real anesthetic? Lidocaine. Same as America uses? He made me show him the vial. Checked the expiration date. Asked if I'd actually been to medical school. I've been a nurse for 12 years. He wanted proof. I showed him my certifications on the wall. He took photos of them. Just making sure. Because in America, stitches cost like $800 minimum. You're doing them for 50. That's sketchy. Not sketchy. Different healthcare economics. He wasn't convinced. Kept asking if there'd be surprise bills later. Kept mentioning lawyers and lawsuits. Finally, let me stitch him up. But filmed the entire procedure on his phone for evidence. He paid the $55, still looking suspicious, and asked for extra bandages because I probably can't afford your follow-up care. I gave him free bandages and follow-up instructions. He left a TripAdvisor review warning Americans that cheap Czech stitches are too cheap to be safe. I manage a dental clinic in Copenhagen. An American woman needed an emergency tooth extraction. Cracked molar, infected, painful. We could do it same day. She asked about cost before sitting down. I quoted her, 2,000 kroner, roughly $300. She went pale. That's incredibly cheap. What's wrong with it? Nothing. Standard extraction. She shook her head. In Texas, this costs $3,000 minimum, and that's with insurance. You're saying 300? With anesthesia, antibiotics, and follow-up included. She started crying actual tears. I've been in pain for 3 weeks because I couldn't afford this at home. You're telling me I could have flown here for less? Essentially, yes. She got angry then. Not at us at America. This is insane. Denmark can charge 300, but Texas charges 3,000. For the same tooth? Different systems. She wanted to argue about it, but her tooth hurt too much. We did the extraction. She paid. Sat in our waiting room afterward, stunned. I just got dental surgery for less than my monthly car payment. She asked if she could become a regular patient. Fly to Copenhagen twice a year for cleanings. I told her that might cost more in airfare than just paying Danish prices per visit. She did the math on her phone. Actually, it's still cheaper than American dental insurance. You realize that's dystopian, right? I didn't write the system. She left us a 5-star review, but spent 3 paragraphs ranting about American healthcare costs. Last line. Danes have no idea how good they have it. I'm a paramedic in Switzerland. We responded to a call American tourist had chest pains. Turned out to be anxiety attack. But we took him to hospital to be safe. Standard protocol in the ambulance. He kept asking about cost. How much is the ride? The hospital. I don't have international insurance. I told him to focus on breathing. He couldn't. No, seriously. I need to know. Because an ambulance in America is $2,000 minimum, and the ER is $10,000. I can't afford this. He was having a panic attack about healthcare costs while having a panic attack about his health. I assured him Switzerland was expensive, but not American expensive. He didn't believe me. At the hospital, they ran test CKG blood work, chest x-ray. All clear. just anxiety. They gave him anti-anxiety medication and monitored him for 2 hours, then discharged him. The bill came to 4,000 francs, about $4,500. He saw it and started panicking again. I knew it. I knew this would bankrupt me. I explained, in America, the same treatment would have been $30,000 minimum. He stopped. Wait, 30,000? Most people miss how European healthcare flips the American system on its head. Subscribers get every story like this inside access before anyone else. Easily. Ambulance. Tests, monitoring, medication, 30 to 50,000. He stared at his bill. So ... Switzerland just saved me $25,000? Essentially, he sat down on the curb outside the hospital and laughed until he cried. Paid the bill on a payment plan. Sent the hospital a thank you card 3 weeks later that just said, "You charged me a reasonable price for saving my life." That shouldn't be revolutionary, but it is. I work pharmacy intake in Toronto. An American across the border drove up specifically to buy insulin. His prescription was valid. We verified it. Sold him 3-month supply, Canadian price, $900. He stared at the total. This is for 3 months? Yes. He pulled out his phone and showed me his American receipts. Same insulin, same quantity, $6,000. I thought he'd edited the image. He hadn't. I drive 5 hours round trip once a quarter to buy insulin here because even with gas money, I save $5,000. I've been doing this for 2 years. That's healthcare arbitrage. He nodded grimly. That's survival. My insurance covers nothing until I hit my deductible. My deductible is $8,000. So I drive to Canada. Hey. He asked if we could ship to America. I explained that was illegal. He understood but looked defeated. So I'll keep driving. Because the alternative is rationing my insulin and hoping I don't die. He wasn't being dramatic. People do die rationing insulin. He knew the statistics. He'd almost been one. Last year, I tried to stretch a 2-week supply for a month. Ended up in the hospital with ketoacidosis. That hospital bill was $12,000. Now I just drive to Toronto. He thanked me like I'd personally saved his life. I sold him insulin at normal prices. He left. I watched him load his car with enough medication to stay alive another 3 months. I thought about how he'd be back in January. Driving through snow because his own country had decided affordable insulin wasn't a right. I'm a clinic director in Sydney. An American family came and their daughter had an asthma attack. Severe, scary, but treatable. We gave her a nebulizer treatment, steroids, monitored her breathing. 2 hours later, she was stable. The father approached me with his wallet out, hands shaking. Okay, hit me. How bad is it? I gave him the bill, $340 Australian. He looked at it for a long time. This covers everything? The breathing treatment, the medicine, the room, the doctor, everything. He sat down hard in a waiting room chair. His wife joined him. They both just stared at the bill. In Colorado, this exact thing happened last year, he said quietly. Same attack, same treatment, same outcome. The bill was $18,000. Our insurance covered $12,000. We paid $6,000 out of pocket. His daughter was 8. She'd have asthma her whole life. He was doing the math how many attacks she might have, how much each would cost, how long until medical debt drowned them. We're paying off last year's attack on a credit card at 19% interest. His wife started crying. Not relief tears. Grief tears. We're going home in 3 days. Back to a system that charges $18,000 to help our daughter breathe? I didn't know what to say. Sorry. Felt hollow. They paid the bill and left. But the father turned back at the door. You probably think we're being dramatic? But you have no idea what it's like to choose between your child's health and financial ruin. I believed him. And that's the thing about these stories. They're funny until you realize they're actually horror. Stories about a healthcare system that treats survival as a luxury purchase. I'll keep documenting these experiences, whether you subscribe or Not but the people who do stay 3 steps ahead of what most Americans think is normal. That's the difference. Maybe one day Americans won't panic about foreign healthcare costs. Maybe they'll just demand the same dignity,